Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a science fiction film, The Wandering Earth. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. In the year 2061, the sun is rapidly degenerating to its limit and starts expanding. It will engulf Earth in 100 years, and the solar system will die in 300 years. In order to deal with this cataclysmic catastrophe, humankind has united like never seen before, and founded the United Earth Government. 10,000 Earth engines have been constructed around the equator area, so as to propel Earth out of the dying solar system, with energy generated from the fusion reaction, and thus flee away to a new home located 4.2 light-years away. Meanwhile, a huge space station for navigation has been built for that mission. Astronauts who have been selected for the mission will spend at least dozens of years at the station before they return to Earth. And with the engines propelling Earth to move increasingly farther away from Sun, the Earth's surface is no longer suitable for humans to live, as it's getting freezing cold. Moreover, as Earth stops rotating, natural disasters, including tsunamis, happen a lot, claiming numerous human lives. Therefore, the UA has constructed one adjacent city under each Earth engine to shelter the desperate people. Before Earth's arrival at its new home, humans will live their life there. However, due to the limited space, not everyone is accepted to the underground city. Only those who have won the drawing lots can obtain the rights to live underground. 17 years later, the first batch of the astronauts, including the astronaut Lou, will start their journey back to Earth the next day. All the other underground citizens are eagerly anticipating their arrival, except for Lou's son, who's grown up to be a deviant boy, and unable to forgive the astronaut father's lying that he would come back home soon, for he's left behind by his father since he was only 4 years old. Therefore, Deviant has been brought up by his grandfather. Deviant plans to sneak away before his dad comes back to Earth. He manages to get a fake identity and some thermal suits from the criminal gangs. Then he takes his foster sister out of the underground shelter to Earth's surface. They rush to a heavy transport vehicle, which belongs to their grandfather, and is very difficult to handle without years training, indicating that Deviant has been planning for the trip for a long time. On the way, Deviant and the foster sister are arrested at a temporary checkpoint, and are then sent to jail. The grandfather soon learns about it, and tries to get them out. However, instead of getting them out, he successfully gets himself in jail, due to his attempted bribe to free his grandson out. Now the three are reunited. Just when they are trying to work out a way to get out of the jail, a devastating earthquake happens. They escape the prison, and jump into the grandfather's truck. It turns out that the earthquake is caused by the strong gravity of Jupiter, and the gravity is now causing Earth to divert from its original course, resulting in an upcoming collision with Jupiter in 37 hours. Most of the Earth engines and steering gears are out of function now, and the global radio is now reporting that an emergency plan has been executed to restart the Earth engines. If the 3.5 billion people don't do something, Earth will disappear in no time. Meanwhile, the space station is going to implement a low-consumption mode. Communication services will be cut off, and all the astronauts will be put into hibernation. Military rescue teams are recruiting trucks to transport lighter cores that are used to start the engines. The grandfather's truck is stopped by one of the rescue teams, and they are asked to join the team to transport a lighter core to the city Hangzhou, where some engines locate. Human beings now have to struggle hard to fight against nature. Years ago, when Earth stopped its rotation, sea flowed back to land and turned Earth into a water ball. As the temperature has sharply decreased, Earth has now turned into a frozen ice ball, with many cities being icebound. Deviant and the others now have to drive through the old town of Shanghai, so as to arrive in the city Hangzhou. However, earthquakes have frequently been occurring due to Jupiter's gravitational spike. And unfortunately, their only transporter is destroyed in a deep ice-covered trench, as objects are keeping falling upon. However, the rescue team does not give up like that. They manage to get to the ground by climbing up to the Shanghai Tower, and transport the lighter core with their bare hands. Unfortunately, the grandfather freezes to death on the way, after being trapped in the tower with the run-out oxygen. While at the station, before going into hibernation, Lou discovers that the station is implementing the evacuation procedures, with the assessment result that Earth is doomed. The UA has well planned that the space station is served as an interstellar arc, and Earth is only an appendage, might be abandoned at any time. So Lou manages to connect with his son out there on Earth, but soon loses connection, as the truck is destroyed. He is greatly concerned, so he manages to break out of the hibernation cabin. Then, he successfully persuades another Russian cosmonaut to join him in saving Earth. The two decide to climb to the central control module and stop the station. Though Lou eventually reaches the control room, the Russian cosmonaut loses his life with his helmet cracked. However, Lou finds that the U-egg has authorized the system to fly in auto mode, so no one is able to manipulate the station manually. With Jupiter's gravitational force continuously thinning out Earth's atmosphere, human beings are getting more and more desperate, wondering whether they can go through the crisis. When the rescue team eventually arrives in the city Hangzhou, they only find that Hangzhou doesn't need the lighter anymore. Just when they decide to disband the team, they learn from the radio that the Sulawesi engines on the equator are still waiting to be reactivated. With all the other Earth engines having been restarted already, thanks to the on-team rescue missions, the team decide to transport the lighter to Sulawesi. However, before they even arrive, they find that the Sulawesi engines also have been restarted by other unites, who arrived before them. When everyone is so excited about seeing all the engines and torques having been restarted, expecting to go back home soon, a technical engineer finds that the distance to Jupiter is still decreasing. Just then, the AI system transmits the final farewell broadcast to the world, announcing that Jupiter's gravitational pull has surpassed the combined power of all engines. Earth has missed its last chance of escape, and humans have the last 7 days to spend with their families. It turns out that the AI system has long ago deduced out all possible outcomes, and the U-egg knows that the rescue mission is predetermined to be a failure. At the space station, Lou is desperate to speak to his son. While on Earth, Deviant is also staring at the sky, missing his father deeply, though he doesn't want to admit it. He still bears grudges against his father for lying to him that he would return home soon, and his running away from home is actually an act to attract his father's attention. Then it suddenly occurs to Deviant that his father once told him that Jupiter is composed of 90% hydrogen. Deviant shouts excitedly to one of the engineers whether the mix of Jupiter's and Earth's atmosphere is combustible. If it works, the force generated by the combustion will be sufficient to push Earth away. They decide to give it a shot, though with a low success rate. The team tries to ask for assistance from the nearby rescue units, but no one responds. Some are rushing back home to reunite with their beloved ones, while others are trying to commit suicide. So the team has no choice but to work on its own. During the process, they meet many unexpected difficulties as they are not experts. The foster sister keeps calling for help through telecommunications. Right then, it occurs to her that Deviant has an emergency contact number, which can connect her to Lou. Immediately contacting her foster father, the girl tells him their plan and asks for his help. Lou asks the U-egg to send a global order to ask the rescue units near Sulawesi for assistance. In the end, the U-egg agrees, and people all over the globe hear the little girl's calling, which rekindles their courage to fight till the last second. And they decide to return to help and give it a last try. People from different countries, even though not able to communicate with each other, are all working together in a way never seen before. They finally successfully push the firing pin of the engine to ignite Jupiter. Everyone is waiting nervously and excitedly, hoping it would succeed. However, all the 3 plasma beams fail to reach the explosive range, and unfortunately, the mission fails at last. Lou suddenly notices that there is sufficient fuel left at the space station, which can be used to ignite Jupiter. The U-egg refuses his proposal at once, as its goal is to maximize the survival of mankind and ensures the continuity of human civilization. However, Lou argues that a civilization without their home and families is meaningless. He uses a bottle of vodka smuggled on board by the Russian cosmonaut to start a fire, thus disabling the AI system. Because only in this way, he can control the station manually. All the other astronauts in the hibernation capsules have been ejected by him, and he is the only one left at the station. He tearfully apologizes to Deviant for not keeping his words to a reunion with him, and gives his last farewell. Then, he pilots the station towards Jupiter without any hesitation. A while later, Jupiter has been successfully ignited, and the strong shockwave soon arrives at Earth, causing catastrophic damage, while at the same time bringing humans the chance of survival. Soon after, Lou finally succeeds, and Earth begins to be pushed away from Jupiter and heads towards its new home. Deviant and the foster sister narrowly survive the shockwave and start their new life in the underground city. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Peace out.